There are plenty of YouTube channels with great modelers who have great production skills. This is not one of them. Welcome to Cable's Creations. Well, before I left Yankee Station last week, I actually did a little bit of pre-painting on the P-40 and even did a tiny bit of assembly. Did some priming and pre-painting and a little bit of assembly. From videos I've seen of this kit, the fuselage actually went together better than a lot of the others. Got just little tiny gaps in there that are going to need a little bit of filling. Before I fill that gap, I'm going to try to do a little test fitting like of that cushion, because why fill that gap if the cushion covers up everything? And also gap here, some of that, well, that's going to be covered by another part down at the bottom. May need to sand and fill that. And that up there. Did some priming and pre-painting. Any of the black you see, that's just primer. Also got the landing gear and the instrument console done. That, since that's got a decal going over it, I may just leave that as is and not use a different black. So with dry fitting, looks like some of that gap is going to need to be filled. I think I'll just go ahead and, just for simplicity's sake, fill in the whole thing. The cushion, which I don't have in right now, kind of pretty much covered up the top part, but there would still be a visible gap between the seat and the head cushion. So yeah, I'm gonna just fill that in and just keep it going to that part on the upper side. Also, in using the putty, I'm gonna try something new that I just saw on Barbados Rex. I happen to have these silicone applicators, and he was using those to smear the putty on and just have it go along. He used a much larger one, but I'm gonna give this a try. I'll probably use a toothpick to initially put it on, but then use this to try to smooth it out. We'll see how that works. I got some more work done yesterday. I got that part puttied and sanded. Actually, well, that line on most of that fuselage was actually together really nice. That was more glue spooge than anything. Needed a little putty up here, and also attached one more piece and got that puttied and sanded. Also did a bit of paint work. I sprayed got the yellow tips down and put silver. The instructions call for silver on the front, black on the back. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I'm gonna just go with it. Also got rubber black on the tires after masking over the silver in the center. And I'd previously done the landing gear struts. That part hasn't been painted. I just stuck it on one of the sticks so I wouldn't lose it, since that's on one of the next steps. similar to that rear cushion. So I'm gonna try to get the back of those props painted up black, so then I can install it. I was trying to figure out a good way to get the paint down, do the props, and then add the prop later. But just the way this kit goes together, it's got a little nub that goes on the inside, and then another part right in front there. I was thinking about just doing some Elmer's glue and then put the prop on at the end, but just with as much puttying and sanding that I've had to do otherwise, thought, yeah, I'll just wait. I'll just put it together, and I'll just mask off the props so I don't get any green or gray on them. As for the P-40, got the prop painted, silver on the front, black in the back, and got this other piece on there. Haven't decided if I'm gonna need to go to some reference pictures, see if that's actually a body seam. Oh, looks like right there in that corner may need just a little bit of putty. Want some reference pictures, see if I'll use sprue goo or regular putty, depending on if I'm gonna use, if that's gonna be a seam line or not. Haven't been doing the greatest job of keeping the updates filmed, but got some more parts added, and also got that area sanded down a little better, and from just looking at it on a video, it doesn't look quite as smooth after rescribing, so might just have to work on that just a little bit. But I got the tail section glued on, so I have most of the underside glued on. I'll wait and see on that. It looks filled in enough. I don't think I need to do anything with the gap, but might need to sand down the gluing a little bit. Also, I have this part put in. Looks a little funny. That's some masking fluid drying off. And not many, two more additional parts to go. I think this one, well, it's Friday, so I may just maybe get it into primer tomorrow. So it's really starting to look like a P-40 now. Pretty happy with that angling of the wings, but did get a pretty good gap between the fuselage and the wings there, so I've got some acrylic putty and let that sit a little bit, and then come back with a wet Q-tip to clean it up, and then just let that sit. Very tip of the wing had a little bit of a gap, so gave it a little more glue and put the clothespin on it. So almost ready for paint. I think I'll go ahead and polish it beforehand and then start hitting it with primer. P-40 is fairly well done and just about ready for primer. So I'll need to kind of mask off the props. I got a couple little areas on the wingtips need to sand, Just had left the sprue gate on there, figuring I would need to be sanding some things on the wings. I tried something a little different, used masking fluid on those green areas instead of just tape masking them. We'll see how that works out. There's that little nub right there that I don't know, well, at least one little area needing a little bit of sanding there too. I'll probably have that in primer before the day's out. Well, got some masking done and got the windscreen attached and even shot some interior green on that. Next step is getting it into primer, which I think may still get done today. So got these side pieces of glass masked and interior green, as well as the rest of the cockpit. Interesting, something I'd never done before. I actually used a razor saw to split the canopy into two pieces so that I can do it open, as Airfix gave you only one choice for it to be closed. So that's what I did, and hopefully it'll look all right, but especially at 172 scale, it's kind of hard to spot. Well, got it in the primer, and well, it'll probably be sitting here for a week. By the time you're watching it, I'll probably be starting to look at it real close, see what additional sanding I might need to do before getting into the green and gray. Even though it's Airfix, one of the cheap kits, it actually went together really, really well. One of the things I'm thinking, one of the biggest areas I've had issues with Airfix has been on the nacelles of multi-engine aircraft, and this is just single engine. That's just a theory I have, but everything I've done from Airfix before has been multi-engine bombers. And all three of them, the biggest problems were the engine nacelles. Well, I will admit that least problematic was the B-25, which is supposed to be a newer tooling. Well, that will be it for this week. Getting ready to go to Dixie Station tomorrow and work for a week and be away from the models. Well, once again, showing you mine to hopefully make you feel better about yours.